You know how they say your whole life can change in a single moment? 1 second, everything is normal. The next, your entire world shatters like glass hitting concrete. For Simone Harper, that moment came on a perfect spring afternoon. The kind of day where the breeze is just right, where the sun feels warm on your skin, where everything seems peaceful and good. She had no idea she was about to lose everything she believed in. It started with something so simple, so innocent. Simone was just dropping off some papers at her mother-in-law's house. Estate documents for her husband Derek's father, who'd passed away a few months before. Just a quick errand. In and out. She'd even brought Patricia's favorite cookies from the bakery downtown. That's the kind of daughter-in-law Simone was. Thoughtful, caring, always go the extra mile. She pulled up to Patricia's beautiful colonial house with its perfectly manicured lawn and blooming flower beds. Patricia took pride in that garden. She took pride in everything, really. Her home, her reputation, her family. Simone walked up the stone pathway, papers in one hand, bakery box in the other. She was thinking about what to make for dinner. Derek had been working so hard lately, coming home exhausted. Maybe his favorite dish would cheer him up. Maybe she'd light some candles, make it romantic. She reached for the gate latch, and that's when she heard it. Patricia's voice, floating clear as a bell through the open kitchen window. "Oh, honey." She has absolutely no idea. Simone froze. Her hand was still on the gate. Something in Patricia's tone made her stop. It wasn't the warm, motherly voice Simone knew. This was different, sharper, almost gleeful. I know. 8 months is a long time to keep a secret. 8 months? Simone's heart started beating faster. She knew she shouldn't listen. She should announce herself, walk up to the door like she'd planned. But her feet wouldn't move. Then Patricia laughed. It was a sound Simone had heard 100 times before. At Thanksgiving dinners. At Derek's birthday parties. At Christmas, when they'd all gathered around the tree opening presents. But this laugh was different. There was something cruel in it. Something cold. But that stupid girl trusts you completely. She actually believes you're working late all those nights. Stupid girl. The words hit Simone like a slap. She felt her stomach drop. The papers in her hand started to crumple as her fingers tightened. No. This couldn't be what it sounded like. Simone moved close at the window, staying hidden behind the tall bushes. Her breathing was getting shallow. Her hands were starting to shake. Gabriella is lovely, Derek. Much more sophisticated than Simone. Gabriella. The name stabbed through Simone's chest. I had lunch with her last week. Did I tell you? She's absolutely perfect for you. So elegant. Patricia paused, listening to whoever was on the other end. To Derek. Simone's husband, Derek. No, of course I cover for you. I told Simone you were helping me with my taxes that night. She bought it completely. The bakery box fell from Simone's hand. It hit the ground with a soft thud, but she barely noticed. The whole world had narrowed to Patricia's voice coming through that window. You should see her, Derek. She's like a little puppy dog. So grateful every time you come home. She made your favorite dinner last night, didn't she? And you sat there eating it, probably thinking about Gabriella the whole time. That awful laugh again. I raised you right, son. You know how to play the game. Simone grabbed the fence to steady herself. Her knees felt weak. This wasn't happening. This couldn't be happening. The best part? She loves me. She calls me Mom. She brings me flowers. She actually thanked me last week for raising such a wonderful man. Patricia's voice was dripping with satisfaction, like she was savoring every word. I almost felt bad. Almost. But then I remember she's just so basic. You deserve better. Gabriella has class, education. She understands your world. Basic, stupid, boring. Is that what they thought of her? While she'd been cooking Derek's favorite meals, while she'd been calling Patricia Mom, while she'd been planning their future together. Yes, I'll cover for you next Tuesday, Patricia continued. Tell Simone you're driving me to my doctor's appointment. I'll even call her, confirm it. Another pause. Oh, stop it. You're not a bad person. You're just taking what you deserve. Simone should have tried harder to keep you interested. A wife needs to make an effort. She got too comfortable. Simone's hands were shaking so hard now she could barely hold onto fence. She wanted to pull out her phone. She needed to record this. This couldn't be real. She needed proof that this was actually happening. But she couldn't move, couldn't breathe, couldn't think. I know you love her in your way, Derek, but love isn't always enough. Sometimes you need passion, excitement. Gabriella gives you that. Patricia's voice softened with fake sympathy, the kind you use when you're pretending to care. And honestly, Simone will be fine. Women like her always land on their feet. She'll probably find some boring accountant to marry and have boring babies with. You're doing her a favor, really, letting her live in ignorance a bit longer before you eventually leave her for someone better. Women like her. Boring. Basic. Stupid girl. Each word was a physical blow. Simone felt like she couldn't get air into her lungs. Oh, I need to go. I see the gardener pulling up. Yes. Say hello to Gabriella for me. Tell her I'll take her to that new boutique next week. We'll make a day of it. A pause. Boss, I love you too, sweetheart. And don't worry about Simone. She's clueless. We're perfectly safe. The call ended. Simone heard Patricia's footsteps moving away from the window. Heard her humming some cheerful tune like she hadn't just destroyed someone's entire life. For a long moment, Simone just stood there, hidden behind the bushes. The estate papers crumpled in her white-knuckled grip. The cookies scattered on the ground where she dropped them. Then, slowly, carefully, she backed away. She had to get out of here before Patricia saw her. Before she had to look into that woman's face and pretend she didn't know. She walked to her car like a zombie, put the key in the ignition with trembling hands, sat there in the driver's seat, staring at nothing. Derek came home at 10:47 p.m. Simone knew the exact time because she'd been watching the clock, counting the minutes, wondering where he really was, who he was really with. She was in the kitchen cleaning up when she heard his key in the lock. She'd made spaghetti his favorite. She'd eaten alone hours ago, but she'd set out a nice plate for him, covered in plastic wrap, just like she always did, just like the stupid, clueless wife would do. Hey, beautiful. Derek came into the kitchen and kissed her cheek, the same kiss he'd given her 1,000 times before. But now Simone noticed everything differently. He smelled like cologne, not his usual cologne, the one she bought him for Christmas. This was different, sharper, more expensive, probably Gabriella's preference. Hi, honey. How was work? Simone smiled as she said it. The smile felt like plastic on her face, stretched and fake. But Derek didn't notice. He never noticed. Exhausting. Johnson is writing everyone about the quarterly reports. Derek loosened his tie and sat down at the table. He looked tired, stressed even. Good, Simone thought. Let him be stressed. This looks amazing. He pulled the plastic wrap off the plate. You're the best. The best. If she was the best, why was there Gabriella? Why had he spent 8 months lying to her face? Why had his mother called her stupid? But Simone just smiled and turned back to the dishes. Your mom called earlier, she said, watching his face carefully in the reflection of the kitchen window. She wants us to come to dinner on Sunday. Derek's expression didn't change. Not even a flicker of guilt or panic. Sure, sounds good. You know Mom loves seeing you. Loves seeing me. Loves mocking me. Loves lying to me. She's so sweet, Simone said, her voice steady. I'm lucky to have her. She feels the same way about you. Derek ate his spaghetti while scrolling through his phone, not even looking at her, not even pretending to be present. She always tells me I'm married up, he said absently. The lies came so easily to him, so naturally. Simone wondered if he even remembered what was true anymore, or if the truth just didn't matter to him. After dinner, Derek took a shower. Simone waited in the kitchen, listening to the water run, counting to 60, making sure he was really in there. Then she picked up his phone. She knew his password. It was her birthday, April 15th. How romantic, she'd thought when he first told her. He'd chosen her birthday, so he'd never forget. Now she wondered if that was a lie too, or just convenient. Her hands shook as she unlocked the screen. Part of her hoped she wouldn't find anything, that maybe she'd misunderstood what she'd heard at Patricia's house, that there was some other explanation, but she knew better. She opened his messages, and there it was. Gabriella. The name sat right there in his recent conversations. Dozens of messages. Sent today alone. Simone's heart was pounding so hard she could hear in her ears. She clicked on the name. Miss you already. Can't wait for Tuesday. Your place or mine? Your mom is hilarious. We had such a good time at lunch. I'm wearing that red dress you like. Come over. Each message was a knife twisting in Simone's chest, but she didn't stop reading. She took photos with her own phone. Every message, every word, every casual, I love you and can't wait to see you. There were pictures too. Gabriella was beautiful. Simone had to admit that. Tall and thin with sharp cheekbones and perfectly styled dark hair. She looked polished in every photo. Sophisticated. Just like Patricia had said. Everything Simone apparently wasn't. She scrolled further back. Weeks of messages. Months of them. Planning dates while Simone thought Derek was working late. Making jokes about his home life. Talking about their future together, like Simone was just an obstacle to work around. She found one message that made her stomach turn. Derek, can't wait until I can make you my wife properly. Gabriella, soon, baby. Your mom says you're handling it perfectly. Simone suspects nothing. Simone took a photo of that one, too. Her vision was blurring with tears, but she blinked them back. Not yet. She couldn't fall apart yet. She kept scrolling. Then she found the messages between Derek and his mother from today. From right after Simone had been standing outside that window. Derek, call went well. She suspects nothing. Patricia, you're the best son. Derek, thanks for covering for me, Mom. I don't know what I'd do without you. Patricia, I know. Now go see your girl and forget about boring home life for a while. Boring home life. There was again that word, boring. Simone took a photo of that message too. Then she carefully put Derek's phone back exactly where it had been. Screen facing down. Charging cable at the same angle. She heard the shower turn off. She moved quickly to the bedroom, grabbed her book from the nightstand, and climbed into bed. When Derek came out a minute later, towel around his waist, she was reading peacefully. Coming to bed, he asked. In a bit. Want to finish this chapter. He kissed her forehead. The same forehead kiss he'd given her every night for 5 years. Don't stay up too late. I won't. Within minutes, Derek was asleep. He always fell asleep fast. One of the things she loved about him. He never tossed and turned, never kept her awake. Now she watched him sleep and felt nothing but cold rage. This man who had promised her forever. This man who'd stood at an altar and vowed to be faithful, to honor her, to love her. This man whose mother had helped him destroy their marriage. He was sleeping peacefully while she lay there in agony. Simone waited 30 minutes to be sure he was deep asleep. Then she got up quietly, grabbed her laptop, and went to her home office. She locked the door behind her. Time to get to work. First, she opened their joint bank account. The one Derek had always said he'd handle because he was better with finances. She trusted him. Of course she had. He was her husband. She started going through the statements from the past 8 months. And there it was. All of it. Right in front of her face. Charges she'd never seen before. Because Derek always printed the statements himself. Always took care of the bills. A jewelry store charge. $2,847. That wasn't her jewelry. She would have remembered a nearly $3,000 gift. Hotel charges. Multiple hotels. Always on nights when Derek said he was working late, or away at conferences. Dinners at expensive restaurants. Places they'd never been together. A charge at Victoria's Secret. $312. She'd never gotten anything from Victoria's Secret. Not lately. Not in the past 8 months. Her hands moved automatically now. Screenshots and mouse clicks. She created a folder on her computer. Named it Garden Plans because Derek would never look at something that boring. She saved everything. Every charge, every receipt, every piece of evidence that Derek had been spending their money that was supposed to be for their future, for the house they wanted to buy, for the children they'd talk about having, on another woman. Next, she Googled divorce lawyers. She read reviews carefully, made notes in a separate document. She needed someone aggressive, someone who specialized in cases with infidelity and financial misconduct. She found him, Mr. Bernard Lewis. His reviews said he was thorough and ruthless, that he'd gotten his clients everything they deserved and then some. Perfect. She added his contact information to her notes, but didn't call. Not yet. She needed more evidence first. She needed to be absolutely certain before she made any moves. Then she opened a new browser window and typed, Gabriela Torres. Social media was a beautiful thing. Gabriela's Instagram was public. There she was, living her best life. Fancy restaurants, expensive jewelry, designer handbags, luxury vacations, all funded by Derek. Simone realized with growing fury, all funded by money from their joint account, money that was supposed to be for their future. She saved everything, every photo, every tag location, every caption. She looked at the clock, 2:47 a.m. She needed to call Rhonda. Rhonda Chun had been her best friend since college. She worked in tech, in cybersecurity specifically, and she kept crazy hours. She'd still be up. Simone sent a text. You up? Need to talk. Emergency. Her phone rang 10 seconds later. What happened? Rhonda's voice was alert, sharp. She always knew when something was really wrong. Derek is cheating on me. The words came out flat, emotionless, with a woman from his office. His mother has been helping him hide it for 8 months. Silence on the other end. Then, I'm coming over. No, Derek's here. I'm pretending everything is fine. Simone, what? Why? Because I'm not going to just cry and leave. Rhonda. Simone's voice was steady now, cold and clear. I'm going to make them pay for this. But I need time. I need evidence. I need a plan. More silence. Then Rhonda said slowly, carefully, Okay, tell me what you need. Simone smiled. It was the first real smile since she'd heard Patricia's voice through that window. Everything, she said. I need everything. They talked for over an hour. Rhonda, bless her brilliant, practical mind, knew exactly what to do. Open a separate bank account tomorrow, Rhonda instructed. Different bank, one Derek doesn't know about. Start moving money carefully, not too much at once, just enough to protect yourself. Already planning on it. Back up everything to a cloud drive he doesn't have access to. Multiple drives, actually. One could get corrupted or hacked. Done. Are you sure you want to do this? The revenge thing, Rhonda asked gently. You could just leave, file for divorce, move on with your life. Simone thought about Patricia's laugh, about the words stupid girl and boring and basic, about Derek kissing her forehead while planning to see Gabriella, about 8 months of lies. I'm sure. Then I'm with you, Rhonda said firmly. Whatever you need. After they hung up, Simone sat in the dark office for a while. She wasn't the same woman who'd walked up to Patricia's house yesterday afternoon. That woman was trusting, naive. That woman believed in love and family and loyalty. This woman knew better. This woman was going to make sure Derek and Patricia regretted every lie, every betrayal, every cruel word. But first, she had to keep playing the part. The loving wife, the devoted daughter-in-law, the woman too stupid to see what was happening right in front of her face. She could do that. She could smile and cook and pretend, because every smile was hiding her real work. Every kind word was covering her true intentions. They thought she was weak. They thought she was boring. They thought she'd never figure it out. They were going to learn exactly how wrong they were. Simone saved all her files, backed them up to 3 different cloud drives, and quietly returned to bed. Derek was still snoring softly. She lay down next to him, careful not to touch him, and stared at the ceiling until the sun came up. Tomorrow, the real work would begin. This man who had promised her forever. This man who'd stood at an altar and vowed to be faithful, to honor her, to love her. This man whose mother had helped him destroy their marriage. He was sleeping peacefully while she lay there in agony. Simone waited 30 minutes to be sure he was deep asleep. Then she got up quietly, grabbed her laptop, and went to her home office. She locked the door behind her. Time to get to work. First, she opened their joint bank account, the one Derek had always said he'd handle because he was better with finances. She trusted him. Of course she had. He was her husband. She started going through the statements from the past 8 months. And there it was, all of it, right in front of her face. Charges she'd never seen before, because Derek always printed the statements himself, always took care of the bills. A jewelry store charge, $2,847. That wasn't her jewelry. She would have remembered a nearly $3,000 gift. Hotel charges, multiple hotels. Always on nights when Derek said he was working late, or away at conferences. Dinners at expensive restaurants. Places they'd never been together. A charge at Victoria's Secret, $312. She'd never gotten anything from Victoria's Secret. Not lately. Not in the past 8 months. Her hands moved automatically now. Screenshots and mouse clicks. She created a folder on her computer. Named it Garden Plans because Derek would never look at something that boring. She saved everything. Every charge. Every receipt. Every piece of evidence that Derek had been spending their money that was supposed to be for their future, for the house they wanted to buy, for the children they'd talk about having, on another woman. Next, she Googled divorce lawyers. She read reviews carefully, made notes in a separate document. She needed someone aggressive. Someone who specialized in cases with infidelity and financial misconduct. She found him, Mr. Bernard Lewis. His reviews said he was thorough and ruthless, that he'd gotten his clients everything they deserved and then some. Perfect. She added his contact information to her notes, but didn't call. Not yet. She needed more evidence first. She needed to be absolutely certain before she made any moves. Then she opened a new browser window and typed, Gabriela Torres. Social media was a beautiful thing. Gabriela's Instagram was public. There she was, living her best life. Fancy restaurants, expensive jewelry, designer handbags, luxury vacations, all funded by Derek. Simone realized with growing fury, all funded by money from their joint account, money that was supposed to be for their future. She saved everything, every photo, every tag location, every caption. She looked at the clock. 2:47 a.m. She needed to call Rhonda. Rhonda Chun had been her best friend since college. She worked in tech, in cybersecurity specifically, and she kept crazy hours. She'd still be up. Simone sent a text. You up? Need to talk. Emergency. Her phone rang 10 seconds later. What happened? Rhonda's voice was alert, sharp. She always knew when something was really wrong. Derek is cheating on me. The words came out flat, emotionless, with a woman from his office. His mother has been helping him hide it for 8 months. Silence on the other end. Then, I'm coming over. No, Derek's here. I'm pretending everything is fine. Simone, what? Why? Because I'm not going to just cry and leave. Rhonda. Simone's voice was steady now, cold and clear. I'm going to make them pay for this. But I need time. I need evidence. I need a plan. More silence. Then Rhonda said slowly, carefully, Okay, tell me what you need. Simone smiled. It was the first real smile since she'd heard Patricia's voice through that window. Everything, she said. I need everything. They talked for over an hour. Rhonda, bless her brilliant, practical mind, knew exactly what to do. Open a separate bank account tomorrow, Rhonda instructed. Different bank, one Derek doesn't know about. Start moving money carefully, not too much at once, just enough to protect yourself. Already planning on it. Back up everything to a cloud drive he doesn't have access to. Multiple drives, actually. One could get corrupted or hacked. Done. Are you sure you want to do this? The revenge thing, Rhonda asked gently. You could just leave, file for divorce, move on with your life. Simone thought about Patricia's laugh. about the word stupid girl and boring and basic, about Derek kissing her forehead while planning to see Gabriella, about 8 months of lies. I'm sure. Then I'm with you, Rhonda said firmly. Whatever you need. After they hung up, Simone sat in the dark office for a while. She wasn't the same woman who'd walked up to Patricia's house yesterday afternoon. That woman was trusting, naive. That woman believed in love and family and loyalty. This woman knew better. This woman was going to make sure Derek and Patricia regretted every lie, every betrayal, every cruel word. But first, she had to keep playing the part. The loving wife, the devoted daughter-in-law, the woman too stupid to see what was happening right in front of her face. She could do that. She could smile and cook and pretend, because every smile was hiding her real work. Every kind word was covering her true intentions. They thought she was weak. They thought she was boring. They thought she'd never figure it out. They were going to learn exactly how wrong they were. Simone saved all her files, backed them up to 3 different cloud drives, and quietly returned to bed. Derek was still snoring softly. She lay down next to him, careful not to touch him, and stared at the ceiling until the sun came up. Tomorrow, the real work would begin. Mr. Bernard Lewis had kind eyes, but his handshake was firm, confident. The handshake of a man who knew how to win. His office was downtown, all dark wood and leather chairs and floor-to-ceiling bookshelves filled with law books. The kind of office that said, "I'm expensive, but I'm worth it." Simone sat across from him, her hands folded in her lap, looking every bit the betrayed wife, which she was. But she was also something else now. Something calculating, strategic, dangerous. "Tell me everything," Mr. Lewis said, leaning back in his chair. So she did. She showed him the bank statements with the highlighted charges, the screenshots of text messages she photographed from Derek's phone, the timeline she created of the affair, Patricia's involvement, everything. Mr. Lewis took notes, his expression growing more serious with each piece of evidence. "This is extensive documentation," he finally said. "You've done good work here. I needed to be sure before I came to you." Smart. He leaned forward. "Here's what we're looking at. The affair itself isn't illegal. Unfortunately, people cheat every day, and there's no law against it. But the financial aspect is concerning." "How so?" "If he's been using joint funds for this relationship without your knowledge or consent, that's called marital waste. We can use that. The court doesn't look kindly on spouses who drain marital assets for affairs." Simone felt a small surge of satisfaction. "What about his mother's involvement?" Mr. Lewis shook his head. "It's morally reprehensible, but legally it doesn't change much. However, it does show a pattern and intent to deceive. That helps our case. It shows this wasn't just a moment of weakness. It was calculated, ongoing, and aided by his family." He pulled out a form and slid it across the desk. "The good news is you've been married less than 10 years. No children. You have your own income. This should be relatively straightforward. How long will it take? If he doesn't contest it, a few months. If he fights, could be 6 months to a year." Simone nodded, processing. "What do I need to do?" "Continue documenting everything. Don't confront him yet. Don't tell him you know. That's critical. The moment he knows, he'll start hiding assets, deleting messages, covering his tracks. I understand. Open a separate account and secure your own funds. Make copies of all financial documents." He paused. "And consider hiring a private investigator. Photos and videos are powerful evidence. Text messages can be denied or explained away, but photos don't lie. Already planned on it." Mr. Lewis smiled slightly. "You're very organized about this." "I have to be." Simone met his eyes. "They think I'm stupid. I'm going to show them exactly how smart I am." After the meeting, Simone drove across town to a different bank, one Derek had never been to, one he'd never think to look at. She opened an account in just her name, Simone Mitchell Harper. She'd taken Derek's last name when they married, but seeing her maiden name there felt good, like reclaiming a piece of herself. She transferred $5,000 from their joint savings. Not enough for Derek to notice immediately. He rarely checked the balance anyway, but enough to start her safety net. Then she met with a private investigator Mr. Lewis had recommended. James Chin was a former police detective who'd gone private 5 years ago. His office was smaller, less impressive than the lawyer's, but he had an air of competence about him. All business, no nonsense. Simone showed him the photos she had of Derek and Gabriella, pulled from social media and Derek's phone. She gave him their addresses, their work schedules, everything she knew. "I need proof," she told him. "Photos, videos, dates and times. Everything that will hold up in court." "You'll have it," James said, making notes. "Give me 2 weeks. I'll give you 1 month. I want to be thorough." James looked up, reassessing her. "Most clients want it done yesterday. Most clients are emotional. I'm strategic." He smiled. "I like you. 1 month it is." Over the next few weeks, Simone became 2 people. During the day, she was the same Simone everyone knew. She went to work at her marketing firm, smiled at clients, had lunch with Rhonda, gave presentations and meetings. Her boss even commented on it. "You seem really focused lately," Robert said during their one-on-one. "Whatever you're doing, keep it up. The Mendez campaign you pitched was brilliant." If only he knew. If only anyone knew that her focus came from rage, from the burning need to prove everyone wrong, from the satisfaction of knowing that while Derek thought he was getting away with everything, she was building a case against him that would destroy him. At night, she was someone else entirely. She came home and cooked dinner. She kissed Derek when he came home late, and he was always late now that she was paying attention. She made small talk. She laughed at his jokes. She was the perfect wife. And all the while, she was documenting everything. She found more charges on their credit cards. A weekend trip to a beach resort in early March. Derek had told her he was at a conference in Boston, but the charges told a different story. Room service for 2, champagne, a couple's massage at the hotel spa. She found receipts in Derek's car when she borrowed it one day to get an oil change, jewelry from a boutique she'd never been to, flowers from an expensive florist, but she hadn't received flowers in months. She found the second phone hidden in his gym bag, a cheap prepaid phone, the kind people use when they don't want to be tracked. Just for talking to Gabriella, she realized, just for keeping his affair completely separate from his real life. She didn't take it. That would tip him off. She just noted its existence, took photos of the text messages on the screen, and put it back exactly where she found it. 3 weeks in, James called. "I've got what you need," he said. And then some. They met at a coffee shop on the other side of town. Somewhere Derek would never go. Somewhere no one from his office would see them. James handed her a folder. Inside were photos. Dozens of them. Derek and Gabriella at restaurants, leaning close over candlelit tables. Derek and Gabriella going into hotels, his hand on the small of her back. Derek and Gabriella kissing in parking lots. Derek and Gabriella holding hands on the street like any normal couple. And then the photo that made Simone's hands shake with rage. All 3 of them, Derek, Gabriella, and Patricia, at a brunch place downtown. All of them laughing together, like old friends, like family, one big happy family. Simone stared at that photo. It was from a Sunday morning 2 weeks ago. She'd been home alone that day, thinking Derek was helping Patricia with yard work. Instead, he'd been having brunch with his mother and his mistress. "There's video, too," James said quietly. "I've got them entering hotel rooms together. Time-stamped, dated. 3 times a week, regular as clockwork. Tuesday nights, Thursday afternoons, Saturday mornings. Saturday mornings. When Derek said he was at the gym. "This is good work," Simone said, her voice carefully controlled. "I'm sorry," James said. "I know this can't be easy to see. It's necessary." She closed the folder. Every photo was another nail in Derek's coffin. Every timestamp was proof of his lies. "What do I owe you?" They settled on payment. She wrote him a check from her new private account. She added everything to her growing file. She now had bank records, text messages, photos, videos, and a timeline that proved everything. Any judge would see exactly what Derek had been doing. would see the pattern of lies and financial misconduct. That night, Derek came home with flowers. Red roses. A dozen of them, wrapped in expensive paper. "For my beautiful wife," he said, handing them to her with a smile. Simone took them. They were beautiful. They smelled sweet. "What's the occasion?" "No occasion. Just wanted to remind you how much I love you." She put the flowers in a vase with water, arranged them carefully. "I love you, too." The words tasted like ash in her mouth. Later, while Derek slept, she added the flowers to her expense tracking spreadsheet. 12 bouquets purchased in the past 3 months. She'd received 3 of them. That meant 9 had gone to Gabriella. At $85 per bouquet, that was $765 of their money spent on flowers for another woman. She added it to the running total. So far, Derek had spent $52,847 of their joint money on his affair. $52,847. That was a down payment on a house. That was a year of fertility treatments. That was their future, spent on hotel rooms and jewelry and flowers for someone else. Simone saved a file and backed it up to 3 different cloud drives. Then she started the next phase of her plan. She pulled up Derek's company website and found the employee handbook. It took some searching, but she finally found what she was looking for. Section 7.3, Romantic Relationships in the Workplace. Romantic relationships between employees must be disclosed to human resources. Failure to disclose can result in disciplinary action up to and including termination, especially if the relationship creates conflicts of interest or a hostile work environment. Derek hadn't disclosed. She was certain of it. He was a senior financial consultant. Gabriella was in client services. They worked together regularly. They definitely created a conflict of interest. Simone made careful notes. She would need this later. She also looked up Gabriella's social media again. Gabriella had posted a new photo 3 days ago, a designer purse, Louis Vuitton. The caption read, "Treated myself, 2 hearts." Except Simone had found the receipt. Derek had bought that purse. $2,100. Treated myself. The audacity. Simone kept a separate file on Gabriella, too. Every post, every caption, every clue about her life and personality. Knowledge was power, and Simone was gathering all the power she could. By the end of the month, she had everything she needed. Proof of the affair, proof of financial misconduct, proof of Patricia's involvement. She had documented every lie, every charge, every secret meeting. She had enough to file for divorce tomorrow if she wanted, but she didn't want to. Not yet, because divorce was just the legal end. Simone wanted more than that. She wanted Derek to lose more than just his wife. She wanted Patricia to feel the consequences of her actions. She wanted Gabriella to understand what she'd really gotten herself into. She wanted them all to hurt the way she'd hurt standing outside that kitchen window, hearing herself called stupid and boring and basic. And she had a plan for that, too. She just needed a little more time. "I got promoted," Simone told Derek over dinner. She'd made steak, his favorite. Everything was always his favorite lately, wasn't it? "That's amazing, baby." Derek actually looked happy for her. Maybe he even was, in his own compartmentalized way. Senior marketing director, 15% raise. Corner office, my own team. She smiled. This promotion was real. She'd earned it through hard work and talent, not manipulation or lies. "I'm really excited." "You should be. You deserve it." Derek raised his wine glass. "To my brilliant wife. My wife." Except he'd been telling Gabriella. She was his future. Simone had seen those texts. "Can't wait until I can make you my wife properly." As if Simone didn't exist. As if their marriage was just an inconvenient obstacle. She raised her glass anyway. They toasted, and as she took a sip of wine, Simone thought about how this promotion changed everything. More money meant more independence, more security, more power. Everything she'd need for what came next. The celebration Derek promised never happened. "Maybe we can go to that new restaurant downtown this weekend," he'd said. "The French place. To celebrate your promotion." Simone had smiled and agreed. even though she knew the truth. She'd seen the charges. Derek had already taken Gabriella to that French restaurant. Twice. But she played along. That would be nice. When Saturday came, Derek was apologetic, rushed, stressed. Baby, I'm so sorry. I have to work late. Johnson needs a Kellerman report by Monday, and it's a mess. It's okay, Simone said, keeping her voice light and understanding. We can go another time. She'd already checked his calendar when he left his laptop open the night before. She knew Gabriella had requested Saturday off. She knew they were planning to meet. You're the best. Derek kissed her forehead. I'll make it up to you, I promise. More promises. More lies. I know you will. After he left, Simone got ready for her own plans. She met Rhonda at a coffee shop across town. Somewhere anonymous. Somewhere safe. Rhonda was already there when Simone arrived, sitting in the back corner with two laptops open and a folder in front of her. I did some digging, Rhonda said without preamble, sliding the folder across the table. Simone opened it. Inside were printouts, social media posts, public records, a whole dossier on Gabriella Torres. She works in client services at Derek's company. Rhonda began, 28 years old, been there for 2 years. But here's the interesting part. Rhonda pulled out a specific page. Old Facebook posts, screenshots from 3 years ago. She's done this before. Simone's eyes widened as she read. Posts from Gabriella's previous job. Comments from former co-workers. A digital trail of a previous affair. She had a relationship with her married boss at her last company. Rhonda explained. The wife found out and made a huge scene. HR got involved. Gabriella quit before she could be fired, so she's a repeat offender. Looks like it. She has a pattern. Target successful married men. Get gifts, money, lifestyle upgrades. Move on when it gets messy. Simone studied the information carefully. This was useful. This showed Derek wasn't special. He wasn't her great love. He was just another mark. Another wallet. There's more, Rhonda said. I found Gabriella's roommate on social media. Her name is Isabel Chun, and based on some vague posts, Isabel doesn't seem to like Gabriella very much. You think she'd talk? Rhonda grinned. Leave that to me. I'll reach out as someone concerned about a mutual friend. See what she says. 1 week later, Rhonda called with news. Isabel talked, Rhonda said, her voice excited. Boy, did she talk. They met at the same coffee shop. Rhonda pulled out her phone and played an audio file. Gabriella has been bragging, Rhonda explained, about Derek, about how much money he spends on her, about how his mother approves of her, about how she's going to be the next Mrs. Harper as soon as Derek dumps his boring current wife. Boring current wife. There was that word again. That hateful word that followed Simone like a shadow since Patricia's phone call. Isabel recorded one of their conversations. Rhonda continued. Gabriella was drunk, going on about how easy it is to manipulate married men. How they're so guilty they'll buy you anything. How Derek is especially easy because his mother is on her side. Simone listened to the recording. Gabriella's voice was slurred but clear. He's so pathetic, honestly. He feels so guilty that he just throws money at me. Last week he paid off my credit card. $1,500. Just like that. And his mom? She's the best. She covers for him, helps us plan dates. She even gave me advice on what to wear to impress him. Laughter on the recording. Cruel, dismissive laughter. The wife has no idea. She's too busy playing housewife, making him dinner and doing his laundry. It's almost sad how trusting she is. But whatever, that's not my problem. When he finally leaves her, I'll be set. He's already talking about buying a condo for us. Simone's jaw tightened. A condo? With her money? With their joint savings? Can we use this recording? She asked. Legally, we'd have to check with your lawyer, Rhonda said. But morally? Absolutely. Simone added this to her growing file. Every piece of evidence was another nail in the coffin, another brick in the wall she was building around Derek. She also started working on the next phase of her plan. She needed to contact Derek's company, but she had to do it carefully. She couldn't just walk in and accuse him of misconduct. She needed to be smart, strategic. She spent days crafting an email. Professional. Concerned. Anonymous. To whom it may concern. I have information regarding employee conduct that may be in violation of company policy. 2 employees have been in an undisclosed romantic relationship that has resulted in preferential treatment and misuse of company resources. I am willing to provide evidence if the company wishes to investigate. This is not sent with malicious intent, but out of concern for the integrity of your organization. A concerned party. She sent it from a temporary email account, one that couldn't be traced back to her. Then she waited. 5 days later, Derek came home stressed. More stressed than usual. HR wants to meet with me tomorrow, he said, loosening his tie. Some kind of routine audit of expense reports. Routine audit? Simone kept her face neutral. That sounds standard. I'm sure it's nothing, Derek said, but he looked worried. I'm always careful with expenses. Except he wasn't. She'd seen the reports. Business dinners that were actually dates with Gabriella. Hotel rooms charged to the company card as client meetings. Conferences that he never actually attended. Derek had been sloppy, arrogant. He thought he was too smart to get caught. I'm sure you have nothing to worry about, Simone said, rubbing his shoulders. You're one of their best employees. Derek nodded, but the worry didn't leave his eyes. Good. While Derek dealt with his work problems, Simone focused on Patricia. She'd been thinking about this for weeks. How to make Patricia face consequences for her actions. Patricia was proud. She cared deeply about what people thought of her. She was active in her church community, several social clubs, and she volunteered at charity events. Her reputation mattered to her. So that's what Simone would target. Not directly. That would be too obvious. But subtly, strategically, she started by having lunch with Derek's sister, Monica. Monica was kind. She'd always been friendly to Simone, genuinely welcoming her into the family. Of all Derek's siblings, Monica was the one Simone actually liked. They met at a nice cafe downtown. How's Derek doing? Monica asked, sipping her latte. He seems really stressed lately. He's been working a lot, Simone said carefully. Then, as if it just occurred to her, you know what's interesting? Your mom has been helping him so much with his schedule lately. She's really involved in his life. That's Mom, Monica said with a slight laugh. She's always been protective of Derek. Maybe too protective, honestly. Simone laughed like it was a joke. I know. It's sweet, though. Sometimes I wonder if she'd tell me if something was wrong, you know? If Derek was having problems or something. Monica's expression shifted slightly. Why would Derek have problems? Oh, no reason, Simone shrugged. Just, you know, your mom sometimes treats me like I wouldn't understand certain things. Like I'm not really part of the family. That's not true. Mom loves you. Does she? Simone wanted to ask, but instead, she smiled. You're right. I'm probably being silly. She planted the seed. Let it grow. Let Monica start watching her mother and brother more carefully. Start questioning things. Over the next few weeks, Simone did similar things. Small comments to Derek's brother about how distant Derek had been lately. Gentle questions to Derek's aunt about whether Patricia seemed different somehow. Nothing obvious. Nothing accusatory. Just enough to make people start noticing. Start wondering. Start paying attention. She also started removing her belongings from the house. Slowly. Carefully. A box of photos one day. Moved to a storage unit Derek didn't know about. Some jewelry the next week. Her grandmother's china. Important documents. Her birth certificate, passport, college diplomas. Everything that mattered to her. Everything she couldn't replace went into storage. She opened a second bank account at yet another bank and increased her transfers. She now had $15,000 saved separately. Enough to get her own apartment. Enough to survive while the divorce went through. She found an apartment she liked. Modern, bright, on the other side of town. A one-bedroom with huge windows and a balcony overlooking the city. All hers. She put down a deposit and signed a lease to start in 2 months. The landlord was flexible, understanding. She told him she was going through a separation. She was building her exit, piece by piece, step by step. And Derek had no idea. He came home every night to a clean house and a smiling wife. He ate her cooking. He slept in their bed. He kissed her goodbye in the mornings. All the while, she was planning his destruction. One night, Patricia called. "Simone, dear, I need to ask you something." "Of course, Mom. What is it?" "Did you mention anything to Monica about Derek having problems?" Simone's heart raced, but her voice stayed calm. "Problems? No. Why?" "She asked me some strange questions the other day. About Derek's schedule, about how much time I spend with him. It was odd. I have no idea what that's about." Simone lied smoothly. "Maybe she's just concerned. You know how Monica worries." Patricia seemed to accept this. "Yes, you're right. I'm probably reading too much into it." But Simone could hear the doubt in her voice. The suspicion. Good. Let her worry. Let her wonder if her secrets were safe. Because they weren't. Nothing was safe anymore. The apartment was perfect. Simone walked through it again one evening after Derek thought she was at a late work meeting. She imagined her furniture here. Her books on those shelves. Her art on those walls. A space that was entirely hers. No memories of Derek. No lies soaked into the walls. "When can I move in?" she asked the landlord. "November 1st. 2 months from now." Perfect timing. That gave her exactly what she needed. Her promotion was official now. New business cards with Senior Marketing Director printed beneath her name. A new office with her name on the door. 5 people reported to her now. The raise was actually better than she'd expected. 18%, not 15. "You've been on fire lately," her boss Robert said during their one-on-one. "Whatever's motivating you, keep it up. The team is responding well to your leadership." Revenge, she thought. Rage. The burning desire to prove everyone who underestimated me wrong. "Just focus on my goals," she said out loud. That weekend was another family dinner at Patricia's house. The whole Harper family gathered around Patricia's dining table, like they did once a month. Derek's siblings, his father, his aunt, and uncle. Everyone laughing and talking and passing dishes. Simone brought her famous apple pie. Everyone complimented it. Patricia hugged her and called her daughter. Derek's father said how lucky Derek was to have her. If only they knew. Simone watched Patricia closely all evening. The woman was a good actress. She had to admit. Patricia smiled at her, complimented her dress, asked about her promotion, all while knowing exactly what her son was doing, all while having lunches with Gabriella, all while calling Simone stupid behind her back. "Simone, can you help me with the dishes?" Patricia asked after dinner. In the kitchen, just the two of them, Patricia said quietly, "Derek seems distant lately. Have you noticed?" Simone kept her face neutral. "Does he?" "I hadn't noticed anything. He's been stressed about work, and he's been spending a lot of time away from home." Patricia's eyes searched Simone's face, looking for something. Cracks, maybe. Suspicion. "I worry about you, too," Patricia added. The audacity, the absolute audacity of this woman to stand here and pretend to care. "We're fine," Simone said. "Marriage always has ups and downs, right? Nothing to worry about." Patricia nodded slowly. "Of course. I just want you both to be happy." Liar, liar, liar. Simone smiled sweetly. "You're such a good mother-in-law, always looking out for us." That seemed to satisfy Patricia. But Simone saw something flicker in her eyes. Suspicion, like she was trying to figure something out. Let her wonder. On Monday, Rhonda called with more news. "Derek's company started an investigation," she said. "They're looking into his expense reports and his relationship with Gabriella." "How do you know?" "I have a friend who works in their HR department. She can't give me details, but she confirmed they're looking into it. Apparently, several people complained once the rumors started going around." "What rumor?" "That Derek and Gabriella have been using company time and resources for personal activities. Someone saw them leaving a hotel during work hours. Someone else noticed the expensive gifts. It's getting messy." Simone felt a surge of satisfaction. Good. There's more, Rhonda continued. Gabriella is freaking out. Isabel says she's been crying, panicking. She thinks she's going to get fired. She probably will. And get this, Isabel told me that Gabriella has been borrowing money from Derek. Apparently, she has serious credit card debt, and he's been paying it off. More of their money. More of the future they planned together. Gone. Simone added this to her documentation. The total was over $58,000 now. $58,000 of their joint savings spent on another woman. That evening, Derek came home looking exhausted. Tough day? Simone asked. You have no idea. He slumped onto the couch. Work is crazy right now. HR is doing this audit, and they're questioning everything. Every expense, every receipt. It's ridiculous. I'm sure it's just standard procedure. It doesn't feel standard. It feels like they're looking for something specific. He ran his hands through his hair. And Gabriella from Client Services is having the same issue. It's weird. Simone sat next to him, playing the supportive wife. Maybe it's just bad timing. I'm sure it'll blow over. I hope so. He looked at her, and for a moment, she saw fear in his eyes. At least I have you. You're the one stable thing in my life right now. The irony was almost funny. She was stable because she was planning to destroy him. Always, she said. I've been thinking, Simone said over breakfast one Saturday morning. Derek looked up from his phone, his coffee halfway to his lips. Yeah, our 5th anniversary is coming up. In 2 months. Already? Derek's expression shifted slightly. Guilt, probably. Time flies. It does. Simone smiled. And I was thinking we should do something special. Maybe renew our vows. Derek froze. His coffee cup hovered in midair. Renew our vows, he repeated slowly. That's a big thing, babe. I know, but we've been through a lot in 5 years. I just think it would be nice to reaffirm our commitment to each other, in front of our family and friends. She reached across the table and took his hand. Don't you want to? Hook, line, sinker. Derek couldn't say no without looking suspicious, without revealing that recommitting to his wife was the last thing he wanted to do. Of course I do, he said, forcing a smile. That's actually a really nice idea. Great. We could do a small ceremony. Invite family and friends. Nothing too elaborate, but meaningful. Sure, whatever you want. What she wanted was to destroy him, but he'd find that out soon enough. Over the next week, Simone threw herself into planning the vow renewal. She called Patricia first. Derek told me about the vow renewal, Patricia said. She sounded surprised. That's very sweet of you, dear. I just love your son so much, Mom. I want everyone to see how committed we are to each other. Every word tasted like poison, but Simone's voice remained warm and genuine. Would you help me plan it? I'd be honored to have your input. Of course, dear. I'd love to help. They met for lunch at a restaurant downtown. Patricia came prepared with a notebook, suggestions for floors and caterers, ideas for decorations. She was actually being helpful, enthusiastic, even, probably because she thought this vow renewal meant Simone was still completely clueless, that she'd won, that her precious Derek would have his cake, and eat it too, a devoted wife at home and a sophisticated mistress on the side. We should invite Derek's colleagues too, Simone suggested casually, since we're both celebrating career successes this year. That's a lovely idea, Patricia agreed. I'm sure his whole office would love to come. Perfect. I'll have Derek send out the invitations to his work friends. Maybe you could help me with the family list. They spent 2 hours planning. Patricia talked about what she'd wear, how beautiful the ceremony would be, how proud she was of Derek and Simone. Simone smiled and nodded and took notes. And inside, she counted down the days. She booked the venue first. A beautiful garden estate with a grand hall for receptions, the kind of place people dreamed about for weddings. She hired a photographer, a caterer, a DJ. She rented chairs and tables with elegant linens. She chose flowers, white roses and hydrangeas, classic and romantic. She made everything perfect. And she made sure there was a large projection screen at the front of the hall. For photos and videos, she told the venue coordinator. I want to show a montage of our relationship, our journey together. The coordinator beamed. That's so touching. We can set up the AV system for you. Actually, I have a friend who's really good with tech. She'll handle it, but I'll need the screen to be prominent, front and center, where everyone can see. Of course, whatever you need. 2 weeks before the event, Derek asked, "Did you send the invitations to my office?" "I gave you the list to send out," Simone reminded him. "Remember? I thought you were handling your colleagues." "Right. I'll do that today." She knew he would. She knew he'd invite everyone, including Gabriella, because not inviting her would look suspicious. And Derek still thought Simone was oblivious. He probably thought he could keep them separated at the event, maybe sneak off to text Gabriella during the reception. Poor Derek. He had no idea what was coming. Simone had spent weeks putting together her presentation. It wasn't a montage of their happy memories. It wasn't photos of their wedding day or vacation trips or anniversary celebrations. It was a timeline of a betrayal. She'd organized everything chronologically, month by month, lie by lie, bank statements with charges highlighted in red, screenshots of text messages with timestamps, photos from a private investigator showing Derek and Gabriella together, the audio of Patricia's phone call that had started everything. Everything. She'd set it to autoplay. Once it started, there would be no stopping it. The system would be locked. Only she would have the control. Rhonda had helped her with the technical setup. They'd tested it 5 times to make sure everything would work perfectly. "Are you sure about this?" Rhonda asked during their final test run. "It's going to be brutal." "I'm sure." Simone's voice was steady. "They humiliated me for months. Time to return the favor. What if Derek tries to stop the video?" "He won't be able to. The AV system will be locked. Only I have the remote control, and I'll have it with me the entire time." Simone smiled. "I've thought of everything." The final piece of the plan involved Derek's company. She'd been in contact with HR anonymously for weeks now, providing additional evidence of Derek's misconduct. They confirmed an investigation was underway. She'd timed everything so that the results would come out right around the same time as her event. The suspension, the formal reprimand, the damage to a professional reputation. Everything was falling into place. 1 week before the event, Patricia called. "I'm so excited for next Saturday," she gushed. "This is going to be beautiful. You've done such a wonderful job planning everything. I can't wait either, Mom. You know, Simone, I'm so glad Derek found you. You're exactly what he needs." A stupid, boring girl who won't notice when he's cheating, Simone thought. But out loud, she said, "That means so much to me. You're the best mother-in-law I could ask for. We're family. Always." Until Saturday, Simone thought. Then they'd see how much family really meant. Simone spent the last week moving the final items from the house. Her closet was noticeably emptier now. But Derek was too distracted to notice. He was stressed about the HR investigation, stressed about having both his wife and his mistress at the same event. Let him stress. She took her remaining jewelry, her important documents, her laptop with all the backed-up evidence. Everything that mattered was now safely in storage or at her new apartment. The house felt hollow now, empty of her presence, even though the furniture was still there. It wasn't her home anymore. It was just a place she was staying temporarily, a stage of the final act. Friday night, the day before the event, Derek tried to get romantic. "I know I haven't been the best husband lately," he said, pulling her into his arms. "I've been so focused on work. But tomorrow, I want to show everyone how much I love you." Simone looked at him, really looked at him. This man she'd loved. This man who'd promised her forever. This man who destroyed their marriage and let his mother help him do it. "Tomorrow will definitely be memorable," she said. He kissed her. She let him. It would be the last time. That night, she lay awake long after Derek fell asleep. Tomorrow, everything would change. Tomorrow, everyone would know the truth. Tomorrow, the boring, stupid girl would have her revenge. She wasn't nervous. She wasn't scared. She was ready. She'd spent months preparing for this. Months gathering evidence. Months planned the perfect wife, while planning the perfect destruction. Tomorrow, they'd all see what happened when you underestimated Simone Harper. Tomorrow, they'd all learn that some women don't cry and beg when they're betrayed. Some women plan. Some women strategize. Some women get even. She smiled in the dark and waited for morning. The morning of the event, Simone woke early. Derek was still asleep, snoring softly. She got up quietly and went to the kitchen, made coffee, sat at the table with her phone, reviewing her checklist one final time. Venue confirmed. Caterer confirmed. DJ confirmed. Photographer confirmed. AV system tested and ready. Presentation loaded and locked. Remote control in her purse. Everything was perfect. Derek came downstairs around 9, already looking nervous. "Big day," he said, pouring himself coffee. "Big day," Simone agreed. "I'm really glad we're doing this." His voice was uncertain, like he was trying to convince himself. "It feels right," reaffirming our commitment. "It does feel right," Simone said, and she meant it. This felt exactly right, just not in the way Derek thought. They arrived at the venue separately. Derek went early to help set up chairs, or so he said. Simone suspected he wanted time to text Gabriella, to ward her to stay in the back, to keep a low profile. Simone arrived 2 hours before the ceremony. Rhonda was already there, setting up the AV system for the final time. "Everything's ready," Rhonda said. "The video will start automatically when you press this button. No one else can control it. The system is locked." "Perfect." Simone changed into her dress. Simple white, elegant but not a wedding gown. She looked at herself in the mirror of the bridal suite. This was it, the moment she'd been planning for months. The moment Derek and Patricia would realize they'd underestimated her. The moment Gabriella would understand what she'd really gotten herself into. "Ready?" Rhonda asked, poking her head into the room. Simone turned from the mirror. "I've never been more ready for anything in my life." "Then let's do this." At 4 p.m., the guests started arriving. Simone watched from the bridal suite window as they filed in. Derek's entire family, her friends and colleagues, people from Derek's office, including Gabriella, sitting in the back row, trying to be inconspicuous in a black dress. Not so inconspicuous that Simone couldn't see her, though. Perfect. Derek stood at the front, pacing nervously. He kept checking his phone, tugging at his collar, looking toward the entrance. Patricia sat in the front row, greeting guests, playing the proud mother-in-law, looking perfect in her designer suit and pearls. Everyone was here. Everyone was about to witness something they'd never forget. Simone took a deep breath, picked up the remote control, and walked toward the door. "Showtime," she whispered. She smiled. It wasn't a kind smile. "The house is mine. The car is mine. Everything I brought into this marriage is mine. And I have enough evidence of marital waste that even more will go to me in the settlement." She looked at Patricia. "And you." Patricia was crying now, mascara running down her cheeks. "Simone, please." "No, you don't get to cry. You don't get to play the victim." Simone's voice was ice. "You called me your daughter. You pretended to love me. You hugged me and gave me advice and invited me to family dinners, all while helping your son cheat, all while calling me stupid and boring and basic behind my back, all while having lunch with my replacement and planning shopping trips with her." Patricia opened her mouth to speak, but Simone held up her hand. "You made your choice. You chose your son's affair over basic human decency. You chose lies over loyalty. You chose to betray someone who trusted you, who called you mom, who loved you." She turned back to Derek. "Oh, and one more thing. Your company finished their investigation yesterday." Derek's eyes went wide. "They found that you've been using company resources for personal activities, that you failed to disclose a relationship with a coworker, which is against company policy, that you've been charging personal expenses to your corporate card, that you created a hostile work environment." Simone paused for effect. "They're suspending you without pay pending a full review. Gabriella was fired this morning." Derek looked like he might pass out. "So, congratulations, Derek. You lost your wife, your reputation, your money, and probably your job, all for someone who only wanted you for what you could give her. Simone set down the microphone on a nearby table. Her hands weren't shaking anymore. Her voice hadn't cracked once. She looked at Derek one last time. Was it worth it? She didn't wait for an answer. She walked off the stage, head high, back straight. Rhonda met her at the side exit, with her purse and keys. Behind them, chaos erupted. Derek's siblings shouting at him and Patricia. Monica crying. Derek's father demanding answers. People from his office talking in shocked, angry tones. Friends surrounding Patricia, demanding to know how she could do such a thing. But Simone didn't look back. She walked out the back door into the parking lot, got in her car, started the engine, and drove away. Away from Derek, away from Patricia, away from all of it. She drove to her new apartment, her fresh start, her future. She walked inside and closed the door behind her. Then she sat down on her new couch, delivered just yesterday, and took a deep breath. It was done. She'd exposed them all. She'd told the truth. She'd taken back her power. And she'd done it without crying once. Her phone was already buzzing with messages. She ignored most of them, but she sent one text to Rhonda. "Thank you for everything." Rhonda replied immediately. "You were amazing. I'm so proud of you." Simone smiled. She was proud of herself, too. The girl who'd stood outside Patricia's window 8 months ago wouldn't recognize her now. That girl had been soft, trusting, naive. This woman was strong, strategic, unbreakable. Derek and Patricia had underestimated her. They thought she was too stupid to figure out, too boring to fight back, too weak to hurt them. They were wrong about all of it, and now everyone knew. Simone got up and walked to her balcony. The sun was setting over the city, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. She'd survived. She'd planned. She'd executed perfectly. And tomorrow, she'd start building her new life. But tonight, she just stood there and watched the sunset. Free. Finally, completely free. The next morning, Simone's phone exploded. Texts, calls, voicemails, emails, social media notifications. Hundreds of them. She sat on her new couch with a cup of coffee, watching the numbers climb. She ignored Derek's messages, 17 of them, increasingly desperate. She blocked his number, blocked Patricia's too, but she read some of the others. From Monica, Derek's sister, "I'm so sorry. I had no idea. You deserve so much better. Please know that what they did doesn't represent the whole family. We still love you." From Derek's brother, James, "What they did was unforgivable. I can't believe Mom was part of it. The whole family is in shock. We support you completely." From Derek's Aunt Helen, "Patricia should be ashamed of herself. And Derek, I always thought he was better than this. My heart breaks for you. You showed incredible strength yesterday." Friend from the event sent messages too. "You're the strongest woman I know. That took courage. You did the right thing. I can't believe they did that to you. You're amazing." Even some of Derek's colleagues messaged her. "We always thought something was off with him and Gabriella. Good for you for exposing it. He got exactly what he deserved. HR had been investigating for weeks, but your evidence sealed it. Thank you for having the courage to speak up." Rhonda came over around noon with coffee and bagels. "You're famous," she said, pulling out her phone. "It's all over social media.